Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Virtual Encounters. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. So we have a very special guest today, former West Indies captain, one of the most admired cricketers and will be long remembered as one of the game's most revered players. He was the first bowler to take 500 wickets in Test cricket. ICC Hall of Famer Courtney Walsh, welcome, sir. Welcome to DD India. First of all, how have you been doing and how are you dealing with these difficult times?
I'm doing okay, thank you. Thanks very much. As you say, it's difficult times, so it's not very easy. Yeah. But we have to cope and do the best we can. So, just giving thanks that we're coping as well as we are at the moment. But as you say, it's very difficult time. So, I hope that everyone in India is staying safe, as well as safe as can be, but we're coping as best as we can.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thanks for asking. So far, so good. We are also doing fine. But thank God, cricket is back. International cricket has started. West Indies women's team will also be playing after 8-month gap. Must be difficult for the players, but thank God, it's back.
Yeah, it's very difficult for the players. They've been waiting for quite a long time. But as I say, give thanks, it's back. We have our first game this week, so everyone is a bit excited and looking forward for that. But the most important thing is that cricket is back. International cricket is being played, and we're able to watch and follow it around the world. So that's good for us, and we're hoping that things will get better as we progress. But I'm very happy to be back out there, and I'm sure the ladies are excited and eager to go out and play.
Yeah, but what do you think? I mean, is it difficult to make a comeback after such a long time? Like I'm saying, West Indies women's team will be playing after a very long time, 8 months to be precise. Some rustiness might be there, lack of form, exposure and fitness too.
All of that is a possibility. If you're not playing the best practices normally in the middle. We haven't been able to do that because we have not had a tour in 8 months. But we've been trying to get ourselves ready with camps and practice and stuff like that. And then I think the first game will be the real test to see exactly where we are for international cricket, fitness, the rustiness, the form, in form. But at the moment, the ladies are in a very good place. They've been practicing very hard, putting in a lot of hard work. So I'm very excited for them to get going. And we're just happy to be able to go out and play cricket. So as long as we're not overawed by the occasion and the situation, I'll be happy. But I'm very excited for them to be able to go out and play cricket.
And talking about your career personally, sir, you played for West Indies for the longest time, from 1984 to 2001. I'm talking about the international cricket. 17 years of international cricket, and if I add 3 years more, 20 years of first-class cricket, and then national selector. Then you coached national team of Bangladesh also in 2016, and now women's coach of the West Indies team. Which role did you like the most? Player, selector, or coach?
Obviously playing. I mean, I just said 17 years of international cricket was tremendous. I was happy to be able to do that and succeed. But obviously playing was the best thing because that's what gets the adrenaline going. You want to play, you want to perform, you want to be the person that helps the team. All those things is something that you dreamt of. So when that dream came true and became a reality, I was very happy. I've enjoyed the other roles. Sort of give back, put it back into it because of the love I have for the game. So being a selector, going to coach in Bangladesh to get the experience was good. Very happy to be back home in the West Indies now and to be involved with Cricket West Indies and doing something. So I've enjoyed all those. But if you're as you have asked, playing was the best for me because you meet so many people when you play. You have different opposition you play against. Your mindset is different. You have to do a lot more thinking from time to time, and it was just enjoyable and fun at the same time as well.
Right, but how cricket started for you? I'm going in 1984, maybe 2-3 years before that. You belong to the same club where Michael Holding used to play, used to train. Did that inspire you, and you always wanted to be a cricketer?
We played for the same club, and I used to watch him when he played as a youngster. Obviously, we were very close friends and stuff. But I just live near to the club as well, so I've always wanted to play for the club and to have a bit of fun and enjoyment. And I think with Michael's achievement when, as a youngster, when he was selected for the first time to go and play West Indies cricket, it was a big buzz in the club. And a lot of youngsters were saying, well, that's very good for us, and hopefully we can emulate him. So it was definitely a good starting point for me. And to have him around, on my first tour, he was my roommate and my mentor, so to speak. So nothing better could have happened then. So, we've been very close ever since then. And it was just happy for the club and for us that, we were able to represent the club, then the country, and then the region. So
right. And then in international cricket, you broke many records. But initially, did you ever think that you could play for 17 years? You went on and on and on. I was watching one interview of Ambrose where you and Curtly Ambrose were there. He was saying that you played on and on and on. You never stopped, and tremendous fitness level that you had. And you also went on to become one of the best fast bowlers Test cricket history ever saw. You satisfied with your playing career?
Yeah, very satisfied. I mean, the people said I could have played a little bit longer. They might be so, because when I retired, I think I was at the peak of my fitness level. I was at the peak of my game. But I didn't want the standards to drop. You said certain standards, I wanted to maintain that. And I was just happy to be able to go out and parade for the West Indies. So I was very happy with that. The longevity of the game, a lot of hard work was put in behind the scene. And then, once you start to play, your body, you could maintain that level of fitness, maintain what the body requires, and do the best you can for whichever team you played for. I think one of the things for me was, it didn't matter who I played for, I gave 100%. So whether it was club cricket, West Indies cricket, Gloucestershire, for Jamaica, I always give 100%.
But what you used to do for the fitness, to maintain fitness, I mean, to play international cricket, to take that toll, to take the load of opening the bowling always for the West Indies team, gyms were not there. I'm not too sure, because whenever we talk to the Indian cricketers, they say, like for example, Kapil Dev, he used to run a lot. What was your mantra for fitness?
I was just going to say the same thing. Back in those days, I used to run a lot. My fitness level was running, a little bit of swimming, and then I got into the gym to do light gym work and repetitions. Mainly when I damaged my shoulder, I was introduced to the gym then, but everything for me was body weight. So it was press ups, sit ups, body weight, a lot of running, and a fair amount of swimming. Running on the sand, running in the water, doing steps, just different type of runnings. And then laps around the field to put miles on your legs. So physically, I was pretty fit. I got a bit stronger when I went and did light repetitions in the gym to build my shoulder muscle, and that definitely helped. But running was the key for me back in those days.
But since we talked about Curtly Ambrose also, how was your bon homie, your camaraderie with Curtly Ambrose? You shared 421 wickets with him in 49 test matches. You both were masters of pace and swing. You used to open the bowling for West Indies. And did he give you the time to maybe experiment more with your bowling?
Yeah, it was a good partnership, because he knew what he wanted to get done. Once he got into the team, we became good friends. We looked after each other, so to speak, and we complemented each other. We didn't compete. Sometimes fast bowlers compete and then it goes wrong and you're in problem. But we worked together as a team, complemented each other. On his bad days, I would try to pull up the slack. So on my bad days, he would try to do the same. But we worked in partnership. So we worked out that if we create pressure at both ends, then they're going to have to try something at some point in time. And I used to be the one that probably tried to go after, because he was so accurate, he was so skillful. They'll probably take more chances with me. So I had to be thinking all the time and try to think out of the box. So it was a very great partnership and very good camaraderie.
Comparatively, you were calm and composed also. He used to be the aggressive one on the field also, and off the field too?
Well, he showed more aggression than probably me did, but I was more aggressive to the batsman, so to speak. But I was a quiet aggressor.
Okay. But you played with the greats of the West Indies team, Michael Holding, Joel Garner, Malcolm Marshall, and then with the likes of Ambrose and Bishop. But post you and Curtly Ambrose, West Indies didn't produce any lethal fast bowler. What do you think is the biggest reason?
I think Our domestic season probably sort of declined a little bit. The young fast bowlers, probably the love for the game probably wasn't there. They haven't been able to, they weren't fortunate enough to probably have mentors like I did around to sort of help and guide the process. You mentioned some names, Malcolm Marshall, Gerald Garner, Andy Roberts, Michael Oldham. Yeah. Those guys were there for me when I just started, so I got good guidance. Sylvester Clark, Wayne Daniel, just to name a few that you played with, and you got very good guidance from them. They wanted to help as best as they could. I think probably some of that is lacking now, where the younger fast bowlers are not as exposed to us as back in the days. Not many of them played with us to learn anything from us. There's young green going into it now, and they need a bit of guidance. I think in time, we'll get back there. We've got to do some work, definitely. Have some camps and have some competitive cricket in the region to get back that competitiveness so we can start to rebuild the stock. But we have young, good fast bowlers here promising, and hopefully that they'll take up the mantle very soon.
Right. But you started playing under the captaincy of Clive Lloyd and ended with Carl Hooper in Test Lara before that. But what was the difference in both the teams when you started playing for the West Indies in 1984 and then when you retired in 2001? Difference in both the teams?
The big difference, I think, in 84 is that we had a lot of professionals playing in England as well, that learned the trade and knew what they wanted to do. We had a lot of self-belief. We knew what we were about. The confidence was pretty high. Everybody knew each other, and we had good experience. I mean, in 84, I was a rookie in the team, so to speak, in my first tour. But then when you look at the likes of Gordon Greenidge, Desmond Haynes, Biff Richards, Clive Lloyd, as you mentioned, as captain, all those names I've called played county cricket, Andy Roberts, Michael Oldham, just to name a few. So they had that experience behind them, and then we all played regional cricket as well. So it was very competitive when we played against each other in the regional tournament. I mean, just imagine Biff Richards, Richie Richardson, Sir Curtly Ambrose, the three sirs playing against Jamaica with Patrick Patterson, Courtney Walsh, Jeffrey Dozier, and Michael Oldham. And when you go to Barbados, you have Malcolm Marshall, Gerald Garner, Gordon Greenidge, Desmond Haynes. And that's just how it was, and it was very competitive. Carlisle Best was probably one of the better, most run getter, high in the region consistently, and could get into the team consistently because of the quality of players I've called. So when you look back at those, you realize that the level of cricket was pretty high. It was very competitive, and the guys had experience of playing in England as well.
But who was the best captain you played under? According to you, who was the best captain? Clive Lloyd, Viv Richards, Richie Richardson, you mentioned, Gardner, Hooper. Who was the best captain you played under? I'm asking this question because there are times when chips are down, when you're not doing well in your career, but then this captain who backs you then to give you best in the field. Who backed you the most?
I think Clive was probably one of the captains who stand out for me as a youngster, because I was surprised when he gave me so much leverage in my first Test series. He was like a father figure and stuff, and with good on his hand. So, but the unfortunate for me, I only had 5 Tests, so the unfair to compare with other captains. The longest captain I played on would have been Bill Richards, and he didn't want to lose. How firm he was and what he wanted to get done. So I enjoyed playing under him, and once you had that understanding with him, then he was always going to back you and give you the support that's required. So I was very happy to play under those 2 captains. Richie, a little bit more laid back, but still gave you the respect and give you the chance to go out and express yourself. But for me, I think Viv would probably be the standout because he didn't want to lose. He had that competitiveness all the time, that fire in his belly. So he's very, very happy to be working there with him. But Clive, as I said, I was pretty much well surprised when when in your first Test match and your captain come to you and say, "What field do you want?" It's like, I thought he was just going to set the field and says ball to it, And that sort of gave me a lot of lead. It gave me some confidence, and we could discuss what I'm trying to do, and he would support it. If it didn't work out, then he would take over as captain, which is I think is the best way to go. But as a bowler, you must have an idea what you're looking to do and the type of field you want and thing. And I was surprised when he actually came to me and said, "What field do you want?" And says the same thing that those guys had, give me 3 slip on the gully, but bring a bat pad in for me. And he says, "You sure you want the bat pad?" Yeah, and he did. So that kind of things kind of give you encouragement and makes you want to do well as well.
Absolutely. Greatest cricketers Test cricket ever saw. But talking about your records, you broke Kapil Dev's record in 2000 for the most wickets and held it for 4 years before Shane Warne went past you. You were the first bowler to take 500 wickets in test matches, and then 5 for 1 in ODI in 1986, 7 for 37 versus New Zealand in test, which was your best bowling in an innings in test cricket also. And no fast bowler in history has claimed as many away wickets as you. Which will be your best moment in international cricket?
There's a few, but I think one of the stands out was the New Zealand one you mentioned, because it was a pretty docile wicket, pretty flat, and got 13 wickets in that game. And when the test match with time display was very pleasing, because we didn't expect that. I mean, we had scored close to 600 runs, I think, and then to come back and win the game would have been a mammoth effort, on a pretty easy batting track, so to speak. So that one stands out. The one-run victory against Australia in Adelaide, when we were dead and buried, so to speak, down in the series, and then we came back to win the series 2-1 when Curtly got his 7 for 1 in Perth. That series would have been a standout as well. So those are, in terms of special moments of team and myself, those are the biggest standout.
And you played a lot of cricket against India also. I mean, you want to refresh your memories playing against India, and maybe you played with Gavaskar, Vengsarkar, Kapil Dev, Madan Lal, and then Shastri, Sachin, Saurav, Azhar. Were you also friends with the Indian cricketers?
I'm still friends with quite a number of Indian cricketers. Sachin is a little master, a very good friend of mine. We get on very well. We stay in touch from time to time.
You talk to him regularly?
Respect.
Do you speak to Sachin Tendulkar regularly?
Not regularly, but every now and then we get in touch and we send a message and stuff like that. He's a very genuine human being, someone I have the utmost respect for. And I can remember every time he sees me, we have a friendly banter. We get on very, very well. He's someone that I highly respected, and just to be in touch, we stay in touch. Kapil Dev as well. Mohammed Azharuddin and I was pretty good friends when we were captain, so we still stay in touch as well. And Madan Lal. Majority of the Indian cricketers I've got on very, very well with, and Ravi Shastri, who is now the head coach, gets on very, very well as well. And when he was in the Caribbean last time, he seeked me out to have a chat and we catch up. And also Anil Kumbli, when he was manager before Ravi, introduced me to speak to his fast bowlers when I was a selector. And I said to him, it's very difficult to speak to the enemy, but it's cricket. I love the game. So I remember speaking to a number of his fast bowlers with him, just encouraging about fast bowling and trying to explain to them the experience and whatever. And it seems to have gone over pretty well, because India have been building that stuff for quite some time, and they've got some very good, genuine fast bowlers coming through and more in the making. So that will only help world cricket.
But you played cricket for almost 17 years. Who was the most difficult batsman to bowl to?
I know that question was coming. It always comes. There's a lot of them. I started in the era of Graham Gooch, Javid Miandad, so to speak, Alan Border. And those were prize wicket at the time. And then you come down to the Steve or Sachin Tendulkar, Inzamam Ulaq, those guys, Mike Atherton, were fighters that you had to prize out. I think Javid Miandad was pretty difficult in his time for me. And Sachin was always a prize wicket, but the fighter for me, Steve was, well, he's one that didn't have the flair of a Sachin Tendulkar or Brian Lara, but he would fight it to the end. He put a high value wicket, and if he gets it, he doesn't give it away. So himself and Sachin probably have been the standout in the second generation, and probably Javid and Alan Border in the first one, along with Graham Gooch.
Yeah, there were always comparisons between Sachin Tendulkar and Brian Lara, who is better batsman. According to you, you must have bowled to Brian Lara in nets, but again, you have played against Sachin Tendulkar, who, according to you, was a better batsman, or there is no comparison?
Sachin was the best right-hander, and Brian was the best left-hander. No, they're two great players, different players. It was a joy to watch them play. On the field of play, you want to get Sachin out. Whenever the West Indian team is batting, you want to watch Brian bat. So, Brian was one of the few guys who would have come off, and used to do the same for Viv.
Talking about the current Indian crop, what do you want to say about the team? Although they lost a World Test Championship final against New Zealand, but the way they played in the last 2-3 years recently against Australia at their own den, and then against England at home, and the contribution of the youngsters also in the team. You think India Indian cricket team is in safe hands under the captaincy of Virat Kohli?
I think so. Under the captaincy of Virat Kohli and the guidance of Ravi Shastri, I think they're in safe hands. Both work very well together. They've got a very good understanding. And I think, I mean, deservedly, they played very good cricket. Deservedly, they were in the finals of the World Test Championship. Unfortunately, only one team can win if there's no draw. So I think it was a very good exhibition of cricket. The one thing I would say from, and that's just from my point of view, is that I was hoping that when both teams went to play, they would have only had like warm-up games before the test match. So for me, New Zealand probably got a little bit of a head start in terms of having 2 test matches against England in the conditions. That's the only thing when I look back, I think,
Now, Mr. Walsh, who is your favorite cricketer in the current generation? Bowler, if I may ask you.
I like Rabada from South Africa, the way he plays, the way he carries himself, the way he looks just simple as a fast bowler and gets it done. I'm a fan of him. I like the way he carries himself. From an outside territorial person, I like him. 2 youngsters I've seen in the Caribbean that I really like. Well, there's 3 of them in total: Shamar Holder, Alzari Joseph, and Jaden Seals. Seals made his test debut recently. Alzari, for me, has a lot of potential, and I think, at some point in time, he's going to come to the party and start to perform consistently. And Shamar Holder looked a very good prospect when I saw him in New Zealand. So I'm hoping that, I mean, obviously, Kemar Roach has been the senior bowler in the attack, and he's been a very good friend of mine, so I'm not taking anything away from him. But I think if we can get 2 of these youngsters to come through, it will be tremendous.
Yeah, but who is the most promising from the Indian team, you think?
From the Indian team, from what I saw, I think Shami looks to has good potential and will have good questions asked of Batsman. And once he keeps improving, and Bumrah now is getting to Test cricket and looks, he's something special. You can tell from his records and everything. I think it's going to be testing to see how he comes back after Test match tours and stuff, and then to see how well he performs. But Shami to me is the one that I'm kind of like, I like what he does.
All right, sir, 2 questions before we wind up the interview. You think the current crop of the West Indies can bring the past glory back?
I think I can. I mean, we just need to play consistently. We had a very good tour of Bangladesh, and then not too well against Sri Lanka, started out badly against South Africa and lost that this series. But I think we need to be more consistent. The potential is there. It's the mindset and performance that we need to get right. I have every confidence that once we start to play good, consistent cricket, we can get back there and get close to it.
Okay. You're now working with West Indies women's team as a coach. Can you compare women's team of West Indies with the Indian women's team?
We played against India in Australia. We've seen them. We played against them in the West Indies just when I joined the team. And the Indian women team was a pretty good team. I know they're in England playing now. They had the test match and they're playing some ODIs. They've got a pretty good team. The good thing with India is that they probably played more cricket than us. But we fancy our chances against any opposition. We just need for our ladies to come out and play some more cricket. But I think India West Indies, whenever we play, there's always good cricket. We had a warm-up game in the World Cup, and both teams went down to the wire. I think it went to a super over. So that's how close we are, how the competitive cricket that both teams play. So hopefully we can, play against each other pretty soon again.
Right. Last question, sir. What advice do you want to give to the cricketers, to the youngsters who want to be professional cricketers? Maybe they want to become a star like you. What advice do you want to give them?
We got to work hard. You have to stay focused, be disciplined in what you do, and just be consistent in everything that you do. And once your workload is up there and you're disciplined, you stay focused and you're prepared to work hard. You'll never know it all. Even today, I'm still learning new things. I've retired how many years ago, but it's a game of glorious uncertainty, as I say. But once you're focused and dedicated and you're prepared to work hard, the sky is the limit.
Working hard and staying focused is very, very important. That's a piece of advice coming from none other than Mr. Courtney Walsh. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for giving us your precious time. Enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much.
No problem. Pleasure is mine, and have a good time. I look forward to catching up with you again soon.